Hello and welcome to NBL Overtime. The regular season is done. Finished. We will not be seeing it again, and it ended with a bang. The Ignite Cup final on the Gold Coast. As you can tell by the scratchiness of my voice, a great time was had by all. And you know what, I'm going to say it. It was the game of the year.
Oh, I'm with you, to be honest. We'll talk about it because the game on its own, but it's good to see all of us up here because the Gold Coast, there's a little bit thing called temptation, Damon, and we went up a little earlier and
you left a little earlier as well, which I thought was disappointing.
There were some people fighting for their lives on the Gold Coast. Happy to be back in Melbourne.
Very much so.
You didn't want to just stay one more night with the guys?
No, we've got the awards after this, so we've got plenty of stuff to do, and then we've got some finals to launch. So, yeah, I'm not sleeping for different reasons to you, let's just say that.
Let's jump into the game, though, because I thought in terms of just highlights, everything you wanted from this, every single metric you could measure the Ignite Cup by was nailed.
When we saw at the Hoops Fest how everybody's run out of the tunnel and look at Zylan Cheatham hit Ray Lewis, that was awesome. Just the atmosphere in the whole place, man. It was just such a carnival of atmosphere. The court all lit up in the LED. And then the game itself, Pete, like teams got off to a blistering start. I think they were both 5 of 5 from the field at one stage.
Oh, and Davis, I mean, there was highlights everywhere. And again, said it during the coverage, all year on Wednesday nights, and we've tried to have a little bit of fun with the Ignite Cup coverage. And Renard Koponen, I know you were saying how the money matters. And have a look at Isaiah Brockington. Like, you could tell when it actually got to the point of this game is for everything. So all the lead up, yes, it counted towards the regular season, but you just felt the vibe as soon as we were down on the court during warm-ups that there was a little more in this, and no surprise, that's what money does. And we got an unbelievable display of basketball.
And we got two teams. Adelaide has got the better New Zealand a couple of times that New Zealand felt they blew, which is fair enough. They did blow those games, right? So, and I still believe styles make fights. Okay, New Zealand won't be playing postseason. Adelaide got a chance to win the whole thing. But when them two teams meet up, they seem to just produce these close contests. And Bryce on one end, PJC on the other end, is just a lot of some bravado. Like Isaiah Brockington has brought an extra little chip to his game. You know, he's strutting around. He gave Bryce the too small at one stage, and he's chirping. And it just got lively. I thought after a while everybody's going to be too cool for school. But as soon as it got closer and closer to the cardboard cash, the tempers started to rise a little bit.
That's exactly what I was worried about. That people, and it's a scourge on society now, they want to be nonchalant. The kids even say it. They say nonchalant. It's become one of those terms like Riz and all those other ones. They weren't like that at all. They were celebrating hard like they just won the championship. They were going nuts. Petteri Koponen was visibly emotional afterwards. I think part of that is because he knows just how good this team could have been if they didn't get injured. If Sam Menenga doesn't go down for 6 games, they're playing finals. They're in that 6th spot over Tasmania. And it was great to see them all going crazy. Brockington up there with the camera. That's how it should be done.
And I think the perfect example of that is you have Sam Menenga barking at his fellow countryman and Flynn Cameron down the end right before he had to shoot 2 clutch free throws. Those two represent their country together for the Tall Blacks, and they're barking at each other. That's what money does. And this was the beauty of it. I think it was an overwhelming success. We can continue to build on it in many ways, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But I thought it was a whole lot of fun from start to finish. Even back to round 1, I thought teams really bought into it. But when you got there, you had the money, you had 40 minutes standing between you and the money. It went down.
Imagine if a team's salary cap was split up throughout the year where every single game was you either get paid or you don't. Can you imagine the bloodbath that would be?
We don't need any extra fighting going on. We don't need any extra physicality. But, you know, the people turned up. Nobody in the Gold Coast had a dog in their fight. Okay, there was a few New Zealand supporters. Looked like they made the trip.
Adelaide ones.
Yeah, but overall, that was made up of all the locals that said, what's going on over there? Let's check this out. Thanks for bringing it to our city. Let's put on a great show, great spectacle, and the teams got behind it.
And it's the perfect spot for it. When you think right there on Broadbeach, the convention centre, you're playing right there, you finish it, you can just walk straight across the road to wherever you want, beautiful weather, and have a great time, as you're clearly attesting to.
You're not far from a bar, whichever way you walk and try to avoid it. But before this, I was always in the camp of, is Gold Coast the right place to have an NBL team? After seeing that game, now I understand it was a final, but again, it was Adelaide and New Zealand. The stands were packed. It was a sellout. I thought it was fantastic. It's really changed my opinion where the Gold Coast is a place you can have it.
It's been there. It's been tried twice. We saw the Gold Coast Rollers and the Gold Coast Blaze. Didn't work out, but timing is everything.
Yeah.
I think now is the time.
Did they play at the convention centre when those teams were around?
The Gold Coast Blaze, I believe, played at the convention centre.
There's been some movement
When
in
Brendan
terms
Joyce
of the
was
venue.
coaching.
I think it has to be.
It has to be at the
It's
convention
got to be
centre.
right
It's
there
got to
in
be
that
right
spot.
there,
Definitely.
right in the middle of town.
I think there's been lessons learned from those times. And you talk about timing being perfect, where it now seems if we're ever going to do it, it's the perfect time to be able to get behind that and have a whole lot of fun. Because I think you'd also find that perfect example of away teams. Yeah, I want to go watch us play the Gold Coast. Twist my arm, I'll go up there for the weekend with the family. What
about PJC? Now, PJC is one of the guys that I feel is always, and not disrespected, we know he's great, but we just don't get reminded of it that often because New Zealand for so long haven't really been a threat. They're over the Tasman. We sort of just forget about them.
You said this, I think earlier this season or maybe last season, and it struck a chord with me because it's spot on. He does not get the respect he deserves because of where the team is. Because they are in New Zealand, right, and we don't see him as much. He's not in the media. For all the talking here in the Australian media, Parker Jackson-Cartwright is one of the top players we have in this competition, and he proves it time and time again. What I love about PJC is this team in the last 2 seasons has been hampered with injuries and things out of their control. You remember the Taco Falls situation, how well they were playing prior to that. Everything out of their control, but he has been the one consistent guy who is, no matter who is available, continues to step up. Yes, he's had his form slumps that everyone else. Mind you, they're very small. He showed time and time again why he's a superstar in this league, and he needs a whole lot more love than we give him, than everybody gives him, and I think that's what we need to start doing.
If everybody just gave him 50% of the love that I give the little big man, he'd be fine. But they also made, don't forget, that Final Four run when they had Will McDowell-White, came up just a little bit short. He could have been in the championship series. Wait a minute, Modi Mayor had a team that how far did they go?
Jarrell Brantley, they were loaded.
But Parker wasn't in that particular team.
No, he wasn't in that one.
Nah, but
that was the Will McDowell.
When they knocked out Sydney. Now, we've seen Parker just, put teams to the sword for ever since he's been here. But something always happens along the way. Either his teammates get hurt or just he got hurt himself. He started off the season slow because he had the rib injury. But, like, when he is up and flying at his best, there's not a guard in the league better than him. He's had games with 15, 16 assists, 0 turnovers, can get his shot off in the mid-range as well as anybody we've seen in the league. So, now, can't wait for next season to see him doing it all over again.
Interesting proposition for the Breakers. Parker Jackson-Cartwright getting paid $1 million, which he deserves every single cent of. That now leaves you with Sam Menenga, who has played himself into the position, I think, of the best local big man in the league. You have to pay him upwards of $750,000 at an absolute baseline. Brockington is going to command a lot more money as well than we thought he was based on his first half of the season. You want him to run it back with this team and be healthy, but I'm not sure the finances work out.
I mean, Sam Menenga's essentially on his rookie deal. So you think about what he did this season. He's been unbelievable. Brockington as well. Love to see Brockington back. I think he's figured out the league and he's become a really genuine, great two-way player as well. Really exciting one. But the Menenga's the key point because it is hard to get elite local bigs, to keep elite local bigs. They cost a whole lot of money and they're very highly sought after around the world.
Sam Menenga's maturing because he was at Cairns and he showed glimpses. And, we keep forgetting how young he actually is. So all of a sudden
24 years old.
It's a joke. He's starting to grow into himself. He knows who he is. He's healthy. Like, okay, he missed a few games of that wrist. But he knows now in his heart of hearts that he is dominant and he's better than 90% of guys in the league that's trying to guard him.
Yep.
I feel he knows that now.
But he's spoken about that and he's backed it up.
Yeah, and I feel like, I'm not saying cheat the salary cap, but get creative with the salary cap.
I'm saying cheat the salary
cap.
Go
and get some guys.
Cheat it.
Go get the local businessmen in New Zealand and go, hey, look, man, this dude going to need some NIL money. He going to need some extra show-up money just to keep him here because, like you said, Japan, China, man, everybody going to come after
Give him a hungry Jacks. I don't care. Whatever you have to do to keep him in there. I am calling for illegal activity to keep him in the country.
But you don't have to do it. If you go and get, for whatever that reason, you pay the guy, you just go into the luxury tax and you pay it. If it's going to help you win a title, you've the success to build and continue to build around. And I love that Dylan Boucher came out. He's already talking about it's going to be a busy off-season. They're getting stuck into it now. And I know they keep saying they're going to keep the New Zealand local core. But he said if there's better available Australian talent, we're not shying away from that either. So I really like where they're at, and hopefully they can build on that.
So they're going to run it back with Menenga, PJC, Brockington, and 7 Alex McNaughts, based on what we got with the finances as well there.
No, they'll figure out a way. I think they're in a really good position.
I hope so. And again, the ownership has money. We're not dealing with a team right now where they have an ownership that's scraping for pennies. They've got the money, and here's hoping that they spend it to keep, especially Sam Menenga, in the league. Petteri Koponen post-game, properly emotional. Let's have a listen to what he said.
This is the best feeling in basketball, you start the season with a new group, you work hard every day, And it's about this, trying to win something. We had, difficult year, ups and downs, slow start for the season, but how we stick together throughout the year, how we improved as a group, and I think this group deserves it. And just proud of the guys.
We spoke to him post-game, even up when he was getting the presentation. The emotion is real because you think about the first 2 years, everything that he's gone through. I don't think another coach has gone through that in the first 2 years where he was so far away from his family. We talk about the emotions last season. They were second on the ladder going into a Fiba break, things out of his control. All the things he's had to go through in the last 2 years. And again, you hate to bring it up, but what could have been this year again? At least they've got something that they can hold on to, and as Parker said, will bond them for life. The emotion was real, and he's stuck with it, and the players clearly love and respect him. I love what he does, and they get a little bit of excitement on what's been a tough couple of years.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see my man Petteri Koponen tonight at the Gazeys. Me and you, Petteri, my shout.
Hey, he's ready to roll.
My shout.
That's amazing to say my shout at an event that's free drinks.
Yeah,
anyway,
nasty work.
I never said you're a fool.
But look, though, with Petteri, like you said, he coaches with his heart, right? And look at the embrace that him and Parker had. Like, that is so real. When you can have a relationship, I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. Guard, coach, player, coach, and they can come together like that and really get to enjoy each other's company. And they've been battling all season. And to get that win in that fashion, I just hope that Petteri, somehow they can work out a way to keep him involved because he's clearly a good coach. Obviously, he's missing his family in Finland, but I don't know. They got to work out something because I hate to see him go just because of, distance became an issue.
To round out that New Zealand chat, they are an incredibly likeable team. The franchise is on the up. They've got the right people in charge. They've got some real amazing building blocks. I think it's a great time to be a New Zealand fan. That was just so fun to watch with that whole thing. With all that being said, with the Ignite Cup, what are we keeping, making sure that it never is removed, and what's something you potentially want to change?
You want to go first?
All right, I'll go first. We need to make it 2 days. Day one of the Ignite Cup is the slam dunk contest and the three-point shootout because I saw Carlin Davidson flying. Like, me and Casey Prather was sitting right behind me with Ariana, and we were watching the warm-ups, and Carlin is doing some outlandish stuff midair. Then you look up the other end, and here's Zylan with his ass over the rim. We're like, good grief. We're going, who will win a dunk contest? So we got to put that together. So have that on day one. Then day two, play the game. Oh, and one last thing. Up the money.
Up the money's the first one.
Yeah.
We got to keep upping that money. You actually took part of my idea. I'm doubling down on what you're saying, but I'm going it's a 3-day festival, the Ignite Cup Festival, where on the first day you have the 2 games of the top 4 teams. It's a round robin, so 1v4, 2v3. And I think you can have a certain staggered... if it's just a one-off game, I don't think the loser should get any money. I think we're all in for the money.
Winner takes all. Yep.
But if it's 4 teams, to a bit incentivise it, that you get a small amount for being in that first game. And then on the second day, you have the fans. We have 3-point contest, all of that, celeb game, whatever it is. You have all of that as a fan night, like they did for the NBA games out here. And then you have the final on the Sunday for all the marbles. I think you have a 3-day festival, the Ignite Cup Festival up on the Gold Coast, wherever it is. And we just get after it like that. And again, up the money.
I don't think I could do 3 days. I just did 2 and I'm hanging on, man. I'm not even going tonight. I'm hanging on.
But that's where I would like to see it. I think we can get, like the NBA do the four teams, and you play a couple of days before. But I think if you can have that perfect spot to have not an all-star game, but you can have all these other things in the middle.
The change, it's $1 million next year because you need something that moves the needle outside of the basketball sphere. And as soon as you start talking $1 million, and maybe inflation by next year to 1.2, but $1 million starts to turn heads. Everyone's like, oh, whoa, what's going on here? The court projections as well. We all saw them in venue. I'm sure people saw them a little bit on broadcast. That's the sort of stuff that changes the game day experience from really, really good to great NBA level. Now, I know it's expensive. It's hard to get in a lot of stadiums, but I think that, in terms of a game day experience, was amazing.
For every game or just the Ignite Cup? Just
every single game. Just court projections, timeouts, everything. Project everything, Peter.
Yeah. OK, I'm with you. I've never seen anything like that, like in terms of...
I want you replaced with a projector.
Yep, OK.
Like just absolutely everything gone.
That's
holograms.
That's messed up.
Hey, Ignite Cup's done. We can finally move on to the actual playoffs, and we'll start off with the Mitsubishi Motors ladder. This is the final standings. The Sydney Kings, top of the pops.
Yep, that's how it finished up. 33 games played, and there you have it. So now it's time for the real basketball. Kicks off with Melbourne United. And the Tassie JackJumpers, we check the road to the championship, and it's going to be a bloodbath. It's why you want to finish in the top 2. Yes, I know you're going to be sitting out for 2 to 3 weeks. I would much rather that than have to deal with that carnage that's going to be the playing games.
It's going to be fascinating because there's some matchups there that you just look at, you think, geez, you do not want to play them a couple of times in the semi-final series. We'll break it all down, but all the way it went down with the throwdown, Phoenix had a chance to potentially finish top 2, and Bryce Cotton was rested essentially, which I completely understand, and all of that. So this is going to be fun because there are some certain matchups, certain kryptonites for some teams out there.
Certainly. Tasmania, Melbourne United, that is a big one, and it certainly changes the whole dynamic of that, the fact that Melbourne got that massive win over South East Melbourne. But let's talk Perth, getting it done against Adelaide. No Bryce. We could pretty much agree that right now it's no Bryce, no Adelaide. I think we can all come out and say that if Bryce is not playing, I cannot see a world where Adelaide get a win.
They're 0-1 without Bryce.
Yeah,
okay.
They have not won yet.
So he's not wrong.
Hang on.
Not a big sample size, but clearly he's the major bulk of their offense. But I feel like the key to that team, though, is Nick Rakocevic. If Nick Rakocevic doesn't show up, because, and this with all due respect to Isaac Humphries, who was at one stage, we were talking about him going, should he get another NBA shot? Should he get an opportunity? He kind of comes and goes in games, and it's all determined by whether he gets involved early in the game. If he goes passes where he hasn't got a touch, he seems to lose a little bit of enthusiasm for the game. That's just what I see. But Nick Rakocevic, man, that dude is a warrior. He just comes on whenever his number is called. Offensive rebounds, putbacks, occasional threes. He toes the line, but whatever. You need a guy on edge like that. I play with a guy like that, Matt Garrison. He was that kind of guy, and that's who Nick Rakocevic reminds me of. So if Nick is up and firing his 20-odd minutes, I think he's one of the biggest keys to the 36ers.
On the Perth side of the equation, JLA.
We know how key he is, and they were always going to win this game. Well, we know that this game meant nothing to the Adelaide 36ers. They were locked into second spot, so JLA had a bit of a field day out there. And again, to have his confidence up and about for what's going to be a big matchup against the Phoenix is a big, big reason for why the Perth Wildcats can do a bit of damage here in the postseason. Couple of weeks off.
Still your championship pick.
I'll have to. I'm going to have. I think
you can drop out.
I think the Sydney Kings are going to win it all.
Make fun of you.
I think the Sydney Kings are going to win it all right now with how well they're playing. But I haven't lost faith in the Perth Wildcats because I've seen what they can do, especially on the road. And if they can go and beat the Phoenix in that first game, clearly I would back them against Adelaide in the semi-final series.
I think JLA, as important as he is to the team, you can see, late in the game, they made, Elijah Pepper hitting with a couple of passes. Christian Doolittle made a specific play to get him the ball. Now JLA's engaged. I don't trust that they do that all the time. There's plenty of passes during the game where JLA's like this, damn, man, So I feel like if they don't feature him regularly and early, kind of like with Isaac Humphries, he switches off a little bit intensity-wise. Next thing you know, he picks up some silly fouls, he's on the bench, and then it's all perimeter. And if they don't include him on the inside, their perimeter game, I don't feel is enough to compete with the top 2.
But also, I think about you talk about styles make fights. You say it all the time. Who's left for them to play? JLA has a big advantage, especially in the individual matchup. So they're going to play the Phoenix. They're very well drilled defensively, but it's him versus Geordie Hunter, and he's had some success going at that matchup in the past. If they win that, he's going against Adelaide, where we talk about Isaac Humphries doesn't look himself right now, and Rakocevic has been very good, but he'll back himself there. And they get to a Sydney Kings, they play a little bit smaller. The one matchup, or the two matchups, Will Magnay's not available, and then Jesse Edwards is the biggest defensive beast we've got left. And Tim Suarez, you're right, for the Sydney Kings, sorry. But other than that, in the first couple of matchups, they can win that. They'll be backing themselves.
There's always two schools of thought when it comes to the end of a basketball game. There's those who say play to the whistle, which I imagine is you, Damon. Doesn't matter if there's 3 seconds left and you're up by 50, you still play to the whistle and you score, or you dribble the ball out. It's pretty easy to tell which side of the equation Mike Wells is on with the way that he acted post-game here, especially with Mr. Gorgon.
Not a big deal to me. I just thought that there's no real point differential at the end right there. I didn't think JLA needed to lay the ball in. Just didn't need to do it. That's just my personal preference on that one. They're in, we're in, everybody's in the playoffs. Not a big deal, but I'm just so proud of our group. They kept competing, and JLA kept subbing back in.
Now, I said Gorgon there, and I mean really. But it certainly made a big deal of something that was made out to not be a big deal.
Yeah, and Mike hasn't been here long enough to know. He's been in the NBA that long. That can start a fight in the NBA, right? this is only Mike's second year here in Australia, and he just hasn't bought into how it is here. And I was the same. When I first got here, I was like, what are you doing? Just taking shots. But we saw, Pete, Melbourne United miss out on the finals by one bucket.
Yeah.
And everybody on that day said, if you was on the fence, when that happened, everybody goes, okay, that's it. Bad luck. If you're going to get offended by that, you should have been playing better defense. You should have got back on defense. So I think Mike, as long as he's here, he'll eventually come around. But, he made a big deal about it. Everybody's like, calm down.
I think he's saying because in that particular instance where everything was set, so no one could move after. 2 points wasn't going to change it, where in the rest of the games it does. But we're still in the regular season. So it's not like you're just going to switch off the mentality of, hey, every bucket matters, we play to the whistle just because it's the last game and results fell our way. So I've got no issue with teams continue. You play till the end of the final sign. You play till the buzzer goes until we get to the finals where it's different because it doesn't care about point differential. Just chopping and changing what games matter where we do it at, I don't think we can do it. We know right now you just play till the end.
I'm with you, Don. I think it's a classic. He is a hardened NBA guy, and that is a cardinal sin in the NBA.
Scott Roth said it when he first got here. He didn't like it at all, but you've got to learn. We saw it. When you miss out by 2 points on playing the postseason basketball,
I will say there is far bigger fish to fry for the Adelaide 36ers than that. What about still on the Perth Wildcats? If they're going to win a championship, it's going to come down to their role players stepping up. And one of those guys, and it's amazing we're saying at this stage of his career, will be Jesse Wagstaff. We know what we're going to get from Pepper, but for me, Wagstaff's going to come out in one of these games, hit 3 threes, couple of cheap buckets here, have 15 points, and that's going to be the difference.
Jesse came off the bench in that game and had his season high with 17 points, about 8 boards, gave it everything, played 20-odd minutes, which is more than he's played all season. I always felt when Jesse's on the floor, the team just functions better. They're just smarter. He just raises the overall intelligence of the entire group. Now, is he going to score a lot? Well, it depends. You never know. Jesse can still knock down threes. He still can draw fouls. He can still bait players into fouling him. So he's definitely going to be a key piece. But I feel like it's the Ben Henschel and it's the Dylan Windler, them two guys. Because Dylan Windler didn't score last game. And Benny Henschel didn't score last game. I've never seen two starters that happen before, but those guys are scorers, and they're going to need everybody firing, Pete.
Is Jesse Wagstaff going to go around again?
He should.
Yeah, I hope so.
We all thought at the start of this year he was going to have one more season if they can try and go and win a championship to reach that upper echelon of ridiculous. You're getting 2 hands to have championship rings, but he can go again. He has not slowed down at all. Well, we saw he had a dunk a couple of weeks ago, so hopefully. But yeah, I think the Perth Wildcats for me, it's Dylan Windler. He's a very, very consistent piece. When they're really firing, he's aggressive on the offensive end. I think Ben Henschel playing the point guard role has been terrific, and then Elijah Pepper, what a breakout season he's had as well. I'm trying to get pen to paper on him as soon as you can for the Wildcats to lock him up.
Well, that's enough serious chat. Time for an 8 No Cupcake League. Rest in peace to our man Corey Homicide Williams. He always loved the MVP awards night because he'd get to wear some sort of abhorrent suit, which we would all love him. Make fun of the following week, but it would be great fun. I'm going to kick this one off. Now, anyone can get left hanging. You know, your favourite commentator can, and sometimes your favourite player. And CG43, have a look at this. Look at the kids. No.
He was nervous.
But I like he's rocking the Ben Simmons jersey, though.
I would have thought he'd be wearing a Perth Wildcats jersey with the way that he was acting there.
They still have Ben Simmons jerseys, don't they?
Hey, don't start.
I'm just asking.
Oh.
You know that they were giving out $1,500 for the best entrance during the Ignite Cup? So you went out there, Zylan Cheatham came out with the cool
Ray Lewis,
bang, bang, bang. If you're going to do one, you want to win it. And poor Alex McNaught came out and hit us with this one.
Oh, no.
Stop it.
What? We are big Alex McNaught fans. We are big Alex McNaught.
Let the record show I am the biggest Alex McNaught fan on the planet, and I hope he plays the rest of his career with the Breakers because he's an unbelievable teammate, and he's actually a hooper. Yeah. Watch his NBL numbers. We play him the joke a few times here, but he has game. He has game.
But he's got to park that one.
And he was MVP post-game last night, wasn't he?
Oh, he was. He certainly was. He was right up there, but my God. If you're going to do that, you've got to win the prize.
Yeah, you've got to win that. The Ignite Cup, so we had all the bells and whistles, right? And we've seen in all sports, if you're throwing a baseball out to the fans, you're trying to give it to a kid or something. But sometimes you just can't. You've got to remember who you're going to steal things from. T-shirt can. Everyone wants a T-shirt. So if it malfunctions, you've got to be careful who you're stealing it from. So have a look at this. That's Larry. Larry's sitting right there. And have a look at this guy. Just said, Larry's right there in the suit. And he said, nah, mine. That's Larry Kesselman. You can't do that.
Larry got to make more of an effort.
Hey, but
you think he's got to jump in there?
Got to make more of an effort.
I wouldn't mind a bit of a hip and shoulder.
Imagine you're Larry Kesselman, right? You own the league, you're absolutely flying. You get your T-shirt stolen, and then you miss out on your business class seat because this Yahoo's taken it at the front of the plane. What's going on there?
We're friends in high places, bro.
Man, that's
So
disgusting.
we're gonna stay on the Gold Coast with the Ignite Cup, and obviously, 400,000 was up for grabs, 300 for the winners, 100 for the losers, as we know. But when you get into a press conference and talk about it, are you going to be coy, or are you going to let them know it's all about the cash? Parker Jackson-Cartwright, take it away.
I mean, you can always say that you've got this championship to come back and celebrate in reunions for the rest of your life. Is it about more than just the money, Parker?
I think in this moment it's about the money, but I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say like it ain't about the money, because it is.
Sam comes in for one more little flex, but like Parker said, it's all about the Benjamins.
We know it is. Sam and Egg knew exactly what he's doing.
Your wives are watching this.
Come on now.
Cut that out.
Come on, Sam.
Man, Parker Jackson-Cartwright has such a good personality where it's, again, we've talked, if he was in a big market team, and I hate that we have to say that, but that's just how the media works. If he was at a Melbourne United, this guy would be an absolute superstar, but I hope that he stays at New Zealand long term, becomes their Bryce Cotton, for lack of a better term. But anyway, it's all about the money. That's the only reason we're here. Yep. The only reason anyone is anywhere. It is all about the money. We'll see you soon. Well, the lead up to Throwdown 32 was all about if Melbourne United can beat their crosstown rivals, then their path to a championship becomes a little bit more realistic, because it is the type of vibe that they need to be working with going into the finals. And it happened. A lot of people said it wouldn't. Pete, you told me specifically there was no way they could win. And they turned it around and
Well, no, I definitely had the Phoenix winning this because they were playing for a top 2 spot as well. Melbourne essentially weren't playing for anything because it was going to be unlikely they could jump the Perth Wildcats with what was going to transpire in that game. But maybe they did have that thought of the confidence we could potentially get to 4th. But they were excellent. They were really good. And this was kind of the form we've been waiting for what? 2.5 months, or that particular game against a team that has been playing very well and has played very well against them in recent times, and they stood up when it mattered most and got it done.
This was the game that the 3 imports stood up.
Yeah.
Jesse Edwards, Milton Doyle, and Tyson Walker. Milton Doyle obviously came off the bench. It was his decision to come off the bench too, by the way. Sacrificing. 25 points off the bench. But I feel like the way they're playing now, Pete, Dean Vickman has to get used to having 3 guys just go out there and just blaze away. He's like Jesse Edwards, your job is to get any offensive rebound. We'll post you up every now and then, but the offense has got to run through that man right there, Tyson Walker, and Milton Doyle. Milton Doyle comes off the bench, it's got to be instant offense. He took 20 shots, if I'm not mistaken, that particular game, and a lot of this stuff is not even off of offense. It's individual brilliance. Now, that's not how Dean Vickman normally coaches, just kind of rolling the balls out. But I feel like for them to be at their best, Milton Doyle and Tyson Walker got to be 2 swashbuckling pirates.
Do you feel vindicated? Milton Doyle. People came at you. Even Milton Doyle was in the comment section. He said, thank you, Damon Lowry, and F off to the other 2.
People came at me.
Milton Doyle backed you up. You were on social media. He came into the comments and he backed you up.
Cool.
And there was a personal and in there.
But I
as
don't
well,
have no vindication. That would suggest that I care what people think. And I clearly don't. But I just know that Milton Doyle, that's who he is, though. He's a big-time player. He's a champion. He can score the ball. I know that and it was his idea to sacrifice to come off the bench to try to get the team clicking over again. But again, Tyson Walker coming at you in full speed in transition, he's a nightmare. And then you got Milton Doyle scoring the ball. That's what you need right there. Chris Golding, you can sprinkle him in whenever he's feeling it. Absolutely. Finn Delaney, pitch in when you can, but it's got to revolve around those 2.
And they've clearly got to do it again against Tasmania, and then they've got to do it in that other playing game. But I feel like in those do-or-die games for the United, the rotations will shorten right down. So you're going to see Milton Doyle for 35 minutes once he checks in. You're going to see Chris Golding. You're going to see all their superstars on the floor rather than getting really deep into the bench. And if they can beat Tasmania, they'll be coming up against potentially a throwdown again. And then after that, if it's not them, they could play the Perth Wildcats, who we've seen the rivalry. You never know what Perth versus Melbourne will dish up. So you talk about their path being not too bad. They've still got to replicate it. We haven't seen them do it back-to-back.
Yeah, let's not knee-jerk here.
No,
this was one good game, but it was a very big one.
They needed it. They needed it going into the break if they would have any chance to continue to do that when play resumes.
You've got an eye for good, and you're diving into the effort stats of rebounding.
My eyes have never been better, Felix. And I tell you what, the offensive rebounding was key. And it's key because when you're playing against the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, that is one of their superpowers. John Brown III, they just go after the offensive glass for extra rebounds. sometimes you got to get lucky, but you also have to put yourself in the right spots to do that. And it wasn't just Jesse Edwards. So Tanner Krebs just hanging around, not running back. Jesse Edwards is a monster, we know that, but these are the extra efforts that don't just show up on the stat sheet as the offensive rebounds, but they continue to build momentum in a game, and I think they did that, and it wears down on your opposition. That's a key for them coming up against Tasmania, albeit they're a little smaller than they would be with Will Magnay, and then whoever they play in that next game if they win.
20 offensive rebounds they got against the Phoenix, so that just shows you the effort, like you just said. That's something that you don't have to run or play for. Just get it up on the rim, go get it, put it back. That takes a lot of pressure. Exactly, it takes a lot of pressure off your half-court offense. So if they can continue that, and that's going to be hard to do in the playoffs, grab 20 of them, but if they can make an effort, 12 to 14, I guess, would be a good number. It helps them out a long way.
So winners and there's losers in this game. Let's see how Josh King wrapped it up.
They brought the fight from the tip-off for more of the game than we did. We were really good in the third for like the last 5 minutes when we went on that big run, when we went to a switching lineup. That was good for us, but overall, they dominated the game. They were more physical. They deserved to win the game. Kind of beat us at our own game a little bit. 20 offensive rebounds, especially in that first half. They came out the more hungry, more dominant team.
Mulligan for South East Melbourne here? I'm not thinking any less of them after this game. No. I'm thinking more of Melbourne United, but I'm not sitting here thinking the wheels have fallen off.
No. Wheels haven't fallen off, but I got issues with their defense. I think it's a lot of hype. I think it's a lot of perceived pressure. Now, obviously, they play hard and they play up and down. But I'm watching teams run up the score. Okay, Melbourne United didn't score 100, but they killed them on the offensive glass. When was the last time we saw Southeast Melbourne Phoenix strangle the life out of an opposition? I can't recall seeing it.
It was before Perth Wildcats beat them in the State Basketball Centre because they started to attack their pressure. I think almost exposed that of, hey, they're going to get up and in, but if you get on the front foot back to them, you can score the ball at a high rate. You remember the Ignite Cup game against New Zealand where they were dominating. And then New Zealand said, hang on, what are we doing taking a backward step here? Let's go out and attack them in the second half. And they put themselves back in the mix. I think it's got a bit to do with that, but you're right. If they want to win a championship, they have to get back to that elite defensive unit. Their offense will be fine. They've got to get back to that elite defensive unit at the start.
Wins on the lead into playoffs are incredibly valuable. Melbourne United got the job done for the Tassie JackJumpers, blown out of the water by the Illawarra Hawks. Not what they want heading into that matchup by any stretch.
Now, you talk about a mulligan. If anybody's going to get one, it's Tasmania. I mean, did Nick Stoddard get hurt too that game?
Yeah.
I mean, they just don't have – it's just not enough guys on the team. They ran out of bodies. The five that they do have, in Tiger Campbell, Majuk Ding, Josh Bannon.
Nick Marshall.
Who's the other starter?
David Johnson.
And David Johnson, sorry.
But it's like that.
It's like that. Anthony
really
Grimming's off the bench.
Yeah.
Look, they still play the Jackie way. They still have that style where they're going to try to control the tempo. But when teams just get out and start running, that's going to really test the JackJumpers because they don't have the depth, I feel, to really control the tempo like they normally do. So it's going to be tough for them.
I feel for them in that game because I feel like Scott Roth would have just written on the whiteboard, do not get hurt. Because that game meant nothing to them, right? Absolutely nothing. Just please do not get hurt. And a guy, Nick Stoddard, who's playing rotational minutes right now to give a bit of a breather to Tiger Campbell, gets hurt. We don't know the update on that, but if he's out, geez, they get even thinner in those positions.
I just think that Scott Roth is going to be able to pull out. And I hope we have cameras in the locker room for his pre-game address when they come up against Melbourne. I just think he's got something left in that trick bag. And whether it's just for the one win, I don't think they're going on to win a championship.
No, they're not.
There's something in there.
I think there is, but all the history with Melbourne United, which makes it, again, you couldn't script all of these playing games any
How much
better.
would Milton Doyle love to send them home in their season?
Is there bad blood there?
No, I think it's just
your old team.
the old team.
I reckon he's enjoying his time in Melbourne.
I think the other side of that is you just don't want the team that you left to send you home. So I think that'll motivate him more than anything else.
What about Damon? The reigning champs done. Your Hawkies, it was not a season to remember.
Yeah.
Tyler Harvey, sort of on that path to citizenship, is a little bit more of a positive to take away from it if he remains there. But, you know, for you, at least it's over.
Yeah, it was a roller coaster. It's a lot of emotional ups and downs. We eagerly awaited the return of Sam Frauden on Christmas Day, and he made a glorious return. We had to await the return of Dave O'Hickey, who was blind to start the season. Then we had to get, Ja'Cory McLaughlin. Then we brought in QJ Peterson. That took a while, but then QJ dropped a 42-piece at one stage. He's like a miniature Damian Lillard. JaVale McGee, that's been the highlight of the whole season. Even though they still didn't use him to my liking, he still was extremely dominant. I thought he just brought another level to the NBL, another level of class. He didn't carry himself like a prima donna on court. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes in the locker room, all that stuff. On court, he seemed like a really good teammate, played his butt off. And, yeah, they just came up short. Jonah Bolden got hurt. That didn't help the rotation. So, look, that's the way it goes. Sometimes it's hard to repeat. Now they have to retool.
I'm glad you said all of that. So Jonah Bolden got hurt. So they had to wait for Sam Froling. Dave O'Hickey was blind. Ja'Cory McLaughlin. That, to me, sounds like 4 excuses. Now, for a man who doesn't like to talk about excuses, they sound like excuses, my friend. So are they excuses, or what are we rolling here? I had to.
There's a fine line between excuses and reasons, so you better tread very carefully.
What is it?
They were garbage this year. It was terrible, man. It was terrible. Like, I know. I tried. It didn't even feel good in my heart me saying all that kind of stuff. Look, they couldn't figure it out, man.
They were very fair points.
They could not figure it out. And, look, they were still competitive, but they just didn't. I feel like they lost some of their soul. A lot of the guys that left, but the group that was there, they just could not get on the same page. Whose fault is that? It's the players' fault. It's only so much JT can do as head coach. It's only so much he can do. And I feel like they just got to lick their wounds, take that ass whooping, go off in the offseason, don't have too much fun, come back and retool.
I don't think anyone looks at this season either and goes, oh, JT had a coaching. I don't look at any less of just...
But also, I love an excuse, and they had some very valid reasons as to why I think...
you're right.
Because the Dave O'Hickey thing, that was a really tough start. The one thing you can't make an excuse for, they got the Ja'Cory McLaughlin thing wrong. They got that wrong, right? So that's on... You can't use that as an excuse because that was in their control. Froling, they knew that he was coming back. Can't really use that one. Then Jonah Bolden. They had plenty of excuses, plenty of things in their control as well. But we also saw those glimpses of, man, this could be fun.
Yeah.
And I'll be fascinated to see what they do next year.
Who comes back? Out of that,
they got
obviously JaVale McGee unlikely to return, I would imagine, at least to the Hawks.
Well, they've got a great core that's returning once again, which was key in them winning a championship the first time. So Tyler Harvey eventually becoming Australian. However, what happens there with his deal going forward? Got to go nail some import spots.
Got to get that right.
Sam
still
Froling.
got Wani, Mason Peatling.
You got Todd Blanchfield.
Toddy Blanchfield still there. Daniel Greta.
Yeah.
Dave O'Hickey. So they still got a rock-solid nucleus.
Great core.
QJ Peterson, does he end up back at the Hawks? Do they take a flyer on him again, or does he end up somewhere else? I think the guy can play.
He can definitely.
And there's been no major issues with him. I think having a guy like this a couple of years in the league, they'll only be better for it. If you get him at the right price.
Nah, he can definitely play, and with all due respect, I'm going to go elsewhere. I'm going to go with a bigger guard. I want the Trey Kell mold of a guy. QJ Peterson's going to go somewhere else in the world and just drop three-pointers and just get buckets. I need to see a bigger defensive scoring guard. Just to go, because I don't want Tyler playing a whole lot of point. And that's what Trey Kell III allowed Tyler to do, play a lot more off the ball last year.
You've nailed it with that, right? So it's not a knock on QJ Peterson.
Not at all.
It's just they've had the blueprint of what works and they have had the blueprint of what doesn't. And that is a bigger guard who can crash the glass, who can defend in Trey Kell alongside Tyler Harvey, than a smaller guard who can score the ball at a high rate. Tyler Harvey is their franchise piece. They want to try and lock him in as an Australian going forward, continue to build teams around Tyler Harvey. So because they've made that decision, which is the right decision to make, you then have to get the right piece that complements him on the court, and I don't think it's a guard like QJ Peterson. Would love to see him stay in the NBL, though, because I think he could light it up. Imagine on a complete green light on the Cairns Taipans or something like Brisbane Bullets, just a complete green light.
It's been 25 years since the Hawks won a championship with a small guard. It's hard to do.
Oh,
I'm a big fan of retention as well. Guys, imports staying within the league. You look at Trey Kell. He wasn't great when he first arrived. By the time he left, he was fantastic. He was arguably the most important player on the championship.
He missed it. I'm out of this segment now.
Now, we saw Trey Kell when he was at Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, got hurt. Then we saw him in Adelaide, and that's when JT said, man, that guy got a triple-double. He'd be perfect. So, yeah, they'll have a look in the offseason and see what happens.
Before we get to the break, Melbourne versus Tassie is going to be that playing game. Is anybody going bold and thinking Tassie can pull off the upset? I think they'll put in an admirable effort.
I'm with you.
Admirable.
I think they can absolutely do it. We think they can do it. You asked me for my tip. I think they're going to win, but I think all the pressure's on Melbourne. It is a free swing for Tasmania. So does the mental game get to Melbourne more than anything else?
Yeah, I got Melbourne United by less than 10.
I reckon Melbourne in double figures, Melbourne in single figures, which for me is almost a win for Tassie considering what they're rolling out there. What a season.
But again, you wouldn't be surprised at that.
I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be surprised. I wouldn't be shocked. We're going to cut to a break. It's awards night. We're going to give our predictions after this. Awards awards night time, and there's a couple that are going to be going right down to the wire. The MVP, the Coach of the Year, the rest of them, guys, you could probably make a pretty easily winnable case. Which one outside of those two do you think is...
I think next gen will be hotly contested, most improved will be hotly contested. I think the only runaway one is Defensive Player of the Year.
I raised that with, do I care about the next gen award?
Okay.
No, I don't.
No,
the next gen award. I care about the Coach of the Year and the MVP. So let's kick it off with that one. The MVP, Bryce Cotton, Kendrick Davis.
First of all, let me say, if there are any ties, if anybody is sharing this award, that is soft. Just know that going in. So, totally subjective.
Soft on who, though?
Soft on the voters.
But they don't know they're voting
I
for a
don't
tie.
care. If they all get together and work out that it's a tie, they got to go back and sequester.
I don't think there's collusion going on.
Well, anyway, let me finish. So, obviously, totally subjective. It all boils down to what people covet. I particularly covet the winning aspect, and Kendrick Davis has got his team on top of the ladder. He has beat Bryce's team. I know some people don't go with that, but they played 4 times. Kendrick's got 3 wins. Bryce got 1 win. That's enough for me. I'll keep it simple. MVP, Kendrick Davis.
We're asking who we think will win or who do we want to win?
Oh, do you know?
Absolutely no. Nobody knows.
Oh. No, some people know it.
I'm okay with a tie, man. I really am.
Don't say that. You are not saying a tie.
Here we go.
Make a choice, Peter.
I'm okay with a tie. I think Bryce will win. But I'm okay with a tie. I think you can have a strong reason for... Your reasons were completely valid.
Okay.
And for that reason, I think Kendrick will win.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But who is your MVP?
Bryce.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got Bryce.
I've got to go with your
with
logic on the tiebreaker, that I'm with Kendrick on that one. But I will say, for both of these teams heading into the finals, the best thing that could possibly happen to the Adelaide 36ers is Kendrick Davis winning the MVP. Because if Bryce Cotton loses this, with the season that has probably been one of the most hard done by to not win the award, he will be on such a vicious tear that he could single-handedly lead this team to the championship.
But again, the story on either way of this MVP is going to be fascinating. If Bryce Cotton wins his 6th, the conversation we're starting to have about Bryce is even more ridiculous. If Kendrick Davis, after falling short last year and saying he wanted it, for the season he's had, he has been unbelievable and he is deserving of winning the MVP. Both are very deserving.
They're both, that's the hard thing.
Completely deserving. I can't recall the last time we've literally sat here and been like, whoever wins, it is completely well-deserved. Because I would love to see Kendrick win. I would love to see Bryce win.
If it's a tie and it's a hush over the Crown Palladium, you're going to hear one guy go, boo, shenanigans! You're not having can't have a split.
So before we move on, Kendrick, Bryce, but we say it is worthy of being a tie. 6th man of the year.
Again, what do you covet? I covet winning, as I've already said. My man Angus Danny Glover had a great season, got his team to 3rd, but Big Shot Kawat got his team to 1st. There is nothing splitting those 2 dudes with their contribution to their team other than one is 1st, other one's 3rd. So for mine, it is a repeat. Big Shot Kawat North.
Yeah, cool. I mean, he's been unbelievable this season. And again, the unwavering confidence. And I love the way that he just goes about his business. And he talks the talk as well, backs it up. And Jook Deng very quietly. Might just Stephen Bradbury just really ball. Because you got to remember, he's eligible for it, but all these massive performances came as a starter. That doesn't matter too much when it comes to Angus Glover for me. I think on the defensive end, he's taken some big assignments. He's come up clutch in some big moments as well. I think Angus Glover gets it.
Big shot, quite for me again. I also covet winning, which is a surprise considering some of my seasons in life. But I think quite annoying for me. Coach of the Year, Josh King, Brian Goorjian.
Well,
we're just different on all these, I think.
Well, here we go. Now, Josh King, who I thoroughly respect, he changed his team. Got rid of 2 imports. First import didn't even make it to the start of the season. Second import, they was top 4, and he let him go. Retooled. Wesley Wundu comes in. Ian Clark comes in.
There was another import at the start of that too. You forgot too. Amari Moore was their first signing.
Oh, gee, forgot about him.
Yeah.
Did you include Friends Blindberg?
Yeah, he had Friends Blindberg.
So anyway, Josh has done a phenomenal job. But once again, I covet winning. And Brian Goorjian, they were 3-5. Brian Goorjian loses his best defensive player, Bull Quall. Xavier Cooks can't find his mojo somewhere halfway through the season. In comes Torrey Craig. Kendrick Davis, what he has done with Kendrick Davis, that relationship between those 2, it is a beautiful thing. So for mine, Brian, top of the ladder, Brian Goorjian, MVP.
Another one
Coach of the Year?
Another one that'll be okay with a tie. I mean, I'm not going to say that. For me, it's Josh King for the sake of the start of this season. The roster Sydney, when they got Kendrick, they got Delhi, everyone's like, man, this Sydney Kings team is going to be so tough with Xavier Cooks. I think Brian Goorjian turning it around, more than deserving of winning it. They're the best team in the competition. I think they're going to go and win a championship. But for Josh King, for the team, everyone thought, this team's not going to do anything, man. They've got no offensive talent. You're going to rely on Nathan Sobey again. That's what all the outside noise was. And he said, stuff you all. I'm going to go and be one of the best teams in it. And they've done that. I've got Josh King over Brian Goorjian just.
Brian Goorjian, the greatest coach we have ever produced as a country. Josh King, this year the coach of the year for all the reasons that you presented there. Nobody picked them to win a championship. No one picked them to be anywhere near. There was probably more wooden spoon picks than there was people expecting them to make finals. If you go to top 4...
But your reasoning is valid as well.
Rapid fire. Sorry. Most improved.
Sam
Meninga. In somewhat of a blowout.
Somewhat
of a blowout.
I think it's Sam Meninga.
And that's
for me
all
because I always rated him so
phenomenal.
highly beforehand as well. But again, stats-wise, Sam Meninga.
It's only so much Flynn can do with playing with Bryce, but Flynn's been awesome.
I think that Flynn stands out a bit more because he's playing alongside Bryce, so I wouldn't be shocked.
We're going to fly. Depoy.
Oh, John Brown III.
John Brown, a human vice grip.
Magnay. No, I'm joking. It's John Brown III. I was expecting to get a bit more reaction out of that. No. Cut to a break. A little bit more coming up next.
Walker winds the clock down. Inside 3 seconds, found some space, and got it! Fiba feeling it from the corner, right in it. Slots it in. There is no avenue to the basket here for Melbourne United. Sobey always capable of finding a way. Incredible Nathan Sobey.
Wow, Bryce Cotton, by the skin of his teeth, if he doesn't win the MVP, he's not even going to care because he is the Mitsubishi Motors leading threes champion. I believe that is the official name of the award.
Taking a game off, got it done.
Game off and got it done. Nathan Sobey, what happens with the tie? Does it just stay as a tie? Do they both win the car?
It's not a car, unfortunately. They'd get something, surely. You have to get something. Maybe
nomination in next year's Next Gen Award.
Recognition.
Oh, maybe. They're way too old for that.
Hey, what do we think? A couple of coaches, Scott Roth, and I believe a couple agreed with him in their presses, Josh King, talking about the Fiba break and how it's all lined up with the structure of the playoffs. It's a 2-week break. It's a long time to not be playing basketball.
I'm pretty sure when we were rolling around that if you weren't part of the finals teams, you could go and represent Australia, and we just kind of played through. So I don't know when it changed or exactly why we can't. I know FIBA said, nope, if you're a FIBA-sanctioned league, you'll stop and you'll enjoy whatever qualifiers we have on. It definitely takes momentum out of it. It's interesting that these coaches probably wouldn't say it if you've got a guy who needs a hamstring recovery period too, or maybe it's a concussion or something like that. So I don't know. I think we've tried to do it where we go straight into the play-in, straight into the semis, have a break, then do the championship series. I don't know what the best way is for. I think we're just going to be in strife one way or another unless we can play through.
Look, FIBA is the boss. The FIBA,
and that's exactly
FIBA's
what
running the show.
They call.
We got World Cup qualifiers. Who are we going to put in? We're going to put in an NBL 1 team, and then we go over there and lose to somebody, and then we're going to be like, man, we should have sent our team. So look, 2 weeks off. They have 2 weeks off in between the last football game and the Super Bowl. If the Super Bowl can wait 2 weeks, we can wait 2 weeks. I don't think it's that.
We have the luxury.
I don't think it's that big of a deal.
They are the boss.
What about this? What if we left FIBA? Is that doable? Or is that sacrilege to even speak of? The NBA seemed to do just fine with that. What do we gain from being in FIBA? I'm not across the financials.
We are in a completly different conversation.
I have no idea.
If we're not in FIBA, we don't have to do the FIBA break, right?
I have no idea.
I have no idea of the ramifications of any of that, which has always been.
Just rest up, do some camps.
You guys are going to be at the awards tonight. Start asking around.
That's fair.
Whether we should leave FIBA.
That's fair. We got probably the closest MVP race of all time, but let me go and ask a question like that, which will get shut down very quickly.
Felix had 2 beers and now he's threatening to leave FIBA.
Thank goodness we're alive.
You have been laying waste to villages.
I know the small towns that I've been pillaging,
Guadalajara,
plundering. they can't wait to see the back of me. Round 22 is over. The reign of terror is over.
Not the day.
Look, I'm not that sorry that I laid waste to so many. But look, it was fun. It was
So
great
many
fun.
unarmed
1,930 people got a hold of me this particular round, the last round, but I got 14,000, which is kind of typical of what I do. So I'm going to just enjoy my off season and see if I can come back with some motivation and run it back.
You can ask for the same amount of money, or you reckon you've done a good enough job? You can ask for a little pay bump.
We'll see. We'll see. What is the going rate for such a serial?
$30. Whatever you're getting over that
I'm out.
is over.
I'm out.
Anyway, we're going to discuss the
I'm
Next
out.
Gen Award coming up. It's finally here. The playoffs right around the corner. You guys are getting ready to scrub up for the MVP tonight. You're in a working capacity, right?
What? I'm working the room.
You do anything? You're always working something. You never miss a
Yeah, way
paycheck.
too much.
No.
Absolutely way too much.
Now I'm going to be. I'm frolicking.
Frolicking.
I'm frolicking.
To be clear, you also are working with me twice tonight, so please make sure that you just don't peak too early, because I'd hate for somebody to peak too early.
Peak too early, Damon. That's for fantastic television. We've seen that. Let's have a look at the playoff picture at the moment. Just to really dive down, maybe get a fingernail level.
Right.
Deep dive.
No better level.
Take it away, Pete.
I mean, we're going to start with seeing who's going to play the Adelaide 36ers. And am I right in saying that both the Phoenix and the Perth Wildcats, they would be... You want to avoid Sydney more, or do you want to play Adelaide more? What
you want
more
to avoid
enticing?
Sydney.
Wow.
I know it's the same thing, but I think...
I'd rather go through Adelaide first.
Yeah. You want to avoid Sydney until the championship series.
exactly.
I think Adelaide, they are very, very beatable. Potentially, you could straight set them if they don't turn it around.
Are we going to see John Jenkins really be John Jenkins? Because I feel like he's kind of.
We'll break it down next week.
All right.
Oh, we could break it down now.
We
got time. What else?
You could do your job and you could break it down.
Well, my man wants a drink, so we're trying to get to the award.
We got time.
They've got a lot. It's not just John Jenkins. They've
No.
got a lot of things they need to fix. They've been getting exposed in the last few weeks.
Do you think if they had
Yes.
won that game in the Ignite Cup, if they had won that game in the Ignite Cup, because we saw at halftime, they were having fun. They were laughing between each other. Bryce was getting into his guys on the bench. They were loving it. Totally changed in that second half. That could have been a little spark for them, much like Melbourne's win over South East
I don't
Melbourne.
think as much...
More a momentum thing, or do you think there's massive fundamental issues for Adelaide?
I think there's big issues for sure. I don't think it would have done a momentum switch as much as the flip side of losing hurts a whole lot more than what winning would have done on the positive
Do you
side.
think Adelaide's under
Yes.
any kind of pressure because they got obviously 4 imports?
Well, they got the most expensive roster. Of course they have.
But like last season was such a dumpster fire in a way.
But they were also halfway through this season the team to beat. We were penciling them in.
But I feel like it's been a successful season for Adelaide. Like they have restored.
No.
They have restored
if they're out straight
credibility.
sets, is that...
They've restored credibility to the place.
I think
it used to be a circus.
They've gone out to spend
That's
to win a
fair.
championship, which I love, and every team should be doing that. But it's championship or bust for them. Hey, good luck tonight, guys. Behave yourselves. Maybe not so much. Still be on the TV. We'll see you
Can't
for
read that.
finals.